It's time for Mac Geek Gab, and listener Donna brings us our quick tip of the week. She says, although I don't always like Apple's changes, Maps has sure improved. She says, I now use Maps often, but it has some new features. And one of the best ones is the ability to set favorites, because now I can just have the places that I want to go all the time. In addition to that, I can use Maps to look up a phone number, check business hours, or find a company website. More tips like this, plus your questions answered today on Mac Geek Gab 980 for Monday, May 8th, 2023. Folks, and welcome to Mac Geek Gab, the show where you send in quick tips like that. We share quick tips like that. You also send in cool stuff found, which we also share. You also send in questions, which we try to answer, because the goal is that each and every one of us learns at least 5 new things every single episode. Sponsors for this episode include Notion at notion.com/MacGeekGab, where you can try Notion AI for free. Kolide.com/MGG, where you can try Kolide today. Zero Trust tailor-made for Okta. And also Zocdoc.com/MGG, where you can sign up for free, download the app today, find a doctor, and instantly book an appointment. We'll talk more in depth about each and every one of those. For now, here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And here in Fairfield, Connecticut, this is John F. Braun.
And here in Lee, New Hampshire is Pilot Pete. And a note of personal privilege, folks. So you're hearing this at the regular time, but we're recording a day early. And we're doing that. Thank you, Dave and John, both, for agreeing to record a day early, because tomorrow is my colonoscopy day. Folks, if you're at the age where you need a colonoscopy, go get one. It will save your life. My mother is a 25-year survivor of colon cancer. She's 97. She caught it early on a colonoscopy. So it's curable, but it's awful deadly if you don't get it done. So thank you for that opportunity, for my point of personal privilege, Dave.
Yeah.
Hopefully it saved somebody's life.
Yeah, I did not realize that about your mom. That's actually a great story. Thank you for sharing that. Guys, I realized something this week. I want more email.
Crazy, Dave.
Well, be that as it may.
What type of email do you want more of, Dave?
So that's a really good question. I went and saw Amanda Palmer last weekend with Lisa, and Amanda Palmer her career has become a masterclass on the entire direct to fans approach, right? She does not have a record label near as I'm pretty sure she doesn't. She runs her entire business through Patreon, right? And so she understands, like we do here, very much so, the value of having a direct relationship with her audience members. And like we've been doing this. How long have we had we've been doing the show for 18 years. So we've known this for 18 years. But she said something very interesting as she was about to go to set break. She played, a 2-set show. And she said, a little bit of housekeeping. There's going to be one more song, then we'll do a set break. It'll last about 25 minutes, which I thought was really nice to know, what the schedule of the evening was supposed to be. So you knew when to sort of mosey back to your seats or whatever. The very, very tiny, uncomfortable seats, because it was in a theater in Boston, and that's how those are. They were built for children to sit in.
Right, back in the 1700s or something.
Back in the 1700s. Yeah, exactly. I digress. And she said, the other thing is, while you're on the break, you can do this online. You can go to my website, or you can do it on paper in the lobby. Please sign up for my mailing list. She says, I promise I don't spam you. But and she's like, it's great. Also, please sign up and follow me on all the socials. That's helpful too. But given the way all the algorithms work, I can't guarantee you that you will find what you want to find from me just because you're following me on socials. She's like, you know, the next time she's going to tour with the Dresden Dolls later this year. So she sort of used that as the example. And she said, you know, if you want to find out when the Dresden Dolls are going to tour, which is something many people have been waiting for a long time to see, you might not get that if you're just following me on Facebook, because the algorithm might not decide to show it to you. But my mailing list will decide to show up in your inbox if you let it show up in your inbox. And she really made a compelling case for wanting more email. And you know, timing in life is interesting. There are things that only appear like coincidences. I have, for the last probably 4 to 6 weeks, been very attentive to all of my mail and curating it a little bit more, but just paying attention to the newsletters that come in that I had basically set up a system to all but ignore, right, for years. And because I use SaneBox, and SaneBox does a great job of compartmentalizing my newsletters, I never was looking in the folder that it was putting them in. And I started doing that. And it's been fantastic. Like, there are things in my life that I have found out about solely because I bothered to look at the email that came in. And so, yes, to your point, John, I only want the email that I want, but I do want that email. Like, I find it really valuable. And it was interesting as she started saying, please sign up for our mailing list, from my mailing list, because it's just her. I was like, okay, you know, here's the pitch. And I've given that pitch. I give it all the time on this show. And I have always given the pitch from what I perceive to be a position of I'll say selfishness, right? Like, I want you to subscribe to the Mac Geek Gab mailing list because I want to be able to reach you when we put out new episodes and all that good stuff, and when we're having hangouts and like those sorts of things. It never dawned on me that you all probably also want to be on the mailing list, because you probably won't see everything that we put out. Even though we don't put out very much, we don't spam you. You know, it's once, sometimes twice a week, but it's probably 5 or 6 things a month that we send. So it's, you know, low bandwidth. But it was just interesting, and I have been very intentional lately about signing up for mailing lists of like bands that I like to see and different things, so that I find out when it's happening. Because if you're like me, every now and then something will appear on socials, something that you like to follow, and it's like, I had no idea that was happening there tomorrow or whatever. And it's like, well, I could have had an idea. Even though I follow that band on social media, if I signed up for their mailing list, I would have known, you know, weeks ago that was happening, and I might have been able to schedule my life so that I could actually go see them. But, you know, so I share this because it's true. I do want more email, and I am signing up for more email. And while we're here, go to MacGeekGab.com, sign up for our mailing list. You get the show notes with all the links and everything in it, right as soon as the episodes are pushed out. And then, yeah, we'll announce things like our hangouts and that sort of stuff there too. We don't sell our mailing list.
You've never sold your mailing list yet.
We haven't sold it yet. That's fair. Yeah. You know, here's something interesting, Pete. I can say accurately that I have never sold a mailing list, because although we had a mailing list with the Mac Observer, it was never put into the asset list of the sale. This was an oversight. This was not like, I would have sold it with the site, because like it makes sense to sell that with the site, you know. In fact, if I were to leverage that mailing list today, it would probably be irresponsible of me, because those people signed up to hear from the Mac Observer, not from Dave Hamilton with whatever venture he's on to next, you know. Right. But it did not wind up getting transferred and sold. So
interesting.
Yeah.
So you never have.
So I never have. I know. Even when I probably was supposed to. It's just, like I said, I didn't think about it until this very moment. It was like, oh, you know what? That's, yeah. So
Not
sorry,
to worry, Dave. The New Horners are see you in court.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can look at the asset list in the purchase and sale agreement, and it's not there. You know. Yeah. So yeah. Interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
I really don't think I did. Like, I don't even think they have access to it. Anyway, we should do a show, but now I'm distracted. Yeah. Like, I sort of feel bad. I probably should have, but anyway, you know. Yeah. Huh. All right. So yeah, sign up for more email, but only the email you want. And then it really doesn't take very long. I go through my like newsletters email, and SaneBox is like, I couldn't live without it. But I go through that every other day, and I look at it, and it's a quick perusal. Once they're all compartmentalized together, the triaging through them is really easy. But if I see something that's like, oh, I keep getting email from that, I don't care about it, then I'll bother to take a minute and unsubscribe. But otherwise, yeah.
So the question becomes, is unsubscribe still a, hey, you've hit a live email address, or does it actually work? Some of these that just appeared in my email out of the blue, I've taken to going to my server and doing a global block on that domain.
Yeah. I mean, like, there are some things that I definitely signed up for that I no longer want, right? Or I thought I wanted, and now I see what they're sending me, and it's like, I don't want what you're sending me.
So, or you sign up to get the 10% coupon, and then now I don't want it anymore.
And now I don't want that anymore, right? Okay. So there's those, and then there are spam. And some of the things that we would classify as spam are actually legitimate mailing lists that just got my name via illegitimate means, meaning unsubscribe actually does unsubscribe, right? But otherwise, yeah, you just put them in spam, or SaneBox has Sane Black Hole, meaning I won't even see it in my spam folder. It just does away with it. Yeah.
I mean, technically, legally, I think it's called the Can Spam Act, and that people are supposed to remove you if you ask them, but not all of them do.
Right. How's that working out for you, John?
Yeah. This is more about the
some
laws
actually do honor the unsubscribe request, because I mean, just as a business person, even if you can send out 1 billion emails to everybody on the planet, most people don't want to, including physical mailing, most people don't want to send mail to people that don't want it. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of resources.
Yeah, but email's cheap.
Yes. Yeah, agreed.
But it's not.
Must work or they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, although there is like the reputable mailing list management companies, like a MailChimp or a MailRoute, or those sorts of the Constant Contact, those sorts of things. They will boot you as a customer if your spam percentage is too high. So like those places, and it's because they want to have the ability to say, we can hit the inbox reliably, right? And if their servers send too much spam, then they won't be able to hit the inbox reliably anymore, and that's bad for business. So they will boot you. So, yeah. Anyway, you got something for us, Pete? Quick tip, maybe?
Oh, okay.
You want me to share? I have another one. Like I can.
Well, let's see. Where we? Oh, the eufy doorbell. No, that's cool stuff.
You were telling us in pre-show, Pete.
That was okay
about something that you did with ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. It's a AI, artificial intelligence. I've taken to putting my writing in there and saying, fix the grammar. And the first time I did it, I had to go through it very slowly. Okay. And then I went, I got an idea. I said, fix the grammar in this. And at the end, give me a list of everything you changed. And I got like 6 or 7 items right there. It was like.
Brilliant. Brilliant. This is the stuff. This is why I like talking about how we use AI, because I've had it fix my grammar. I've never thought to take it the next step farther and say, tell me what you changed. In fact, like we can, and it's a good idea to zoom out on this. It's not just about grammar. If you're having ChatGPT do any sort of work on your stuff, like I'll say, take this article, take this thing that I wrote and make it sound punchier or something, like whatever. But I've never once thought to say, that sounds great. Tell me what you changed. It's brilliant.
Right. So now you aren't having to go through it with a fine tooth comb and go, oh no, because I've 1 or 2 times I've got, that's not how I want to say it. I put it that way for a reason. And, so.
No, as soon as you said that pre-show, I'm like, oh, that's got to be a quick tip. And I almost wanted it to be the opening quick tip, but I wanted to talk about it. So it can't be. Right. Yeah.
Well, we had a big AI discussion pre-show, obviously. But that was the one that, like you say, I mean, for coding, hey, this code is not working. Fix it. What did you
tell
change?
Me what you fixed? Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then I guess while I'm at it, I'll share what I did with the code.
Sure.
Yeah.
What'd you do? Yeah.
So I have my website and I want people to subscribe to my show. But what I wanted it to do was to figure out whether someone was looking at my website with an iPhone or with an Android phone, and then to open the appropriate pod catching app on that device and take them to the subscribe page. So I know JavaScript like I know how to build a lunar capsule. I just don't. So I said, hey, ChatGPT, give me the JavaScript code to make this work. And it gave it to me and it worked like a champ. So I was able to put it and test it.
You know, there's nothing worse than going to a doctor's appointment expecting to be the center of attention, and then your doctor seems like they have better things to do and better places to be. Instead of listening to you intently, asking you how you feel and helping you along, the doctor's checking the clock. On our sponsor, Zocdoc, you'll find quality doctors who focus on you, listen to you, and prioritize your care. Zocdoc is the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, are available when you need them, and treat almost every condition under the sun. This means no more doctor roulette or scouring the internet for questionable reviews. With Zocdoc, you have a trusted guide to connect you to your favorite doctor that you haven't yet met. Millions of people use Zocdoc's free app to find and book a doctor in their neighborhood who is patient-reviewed and fits their needs and schedule just right. Go to Zocdoc.com/MGG and download the Zocdoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc.com/MGG, Zocdoc.com/MGG, and our thanks to Zocdoc for sponsoring this episode. Like many of you out there, we've found that our sponsor Notion is great to use every day for like notes and docs and project management. And today, I'm excited to tell you about the incredible newest addition to Notion's suite of tools, Notion AI. Yup, that's right. Artificial intelligence that works right in your Notion workspace. Notion AI helps you work faster, write better, and think bigger doing tasks that normally take you hours in just seconds. And this is because you can leverage the power of AI right inside Notion across all your notes and docs without the need to jump between your work and a web browser or some separate AI-powered tool. Notion AI is designed to help you with your work right in the place where you're doing your work, and that's what makes it great. You just tell Notion AI what to do. The more details, the better, as we've discussed here on the show, right? And you can then have it write a blog post, make an outline, brainstorm ideas, summarize a whole bunch of docs, whatever you want. And for a limited time, try Notion AI for free when you go to notion.com/Mac Geek Gab. That's all lowercase letters, notion.com/Mac Geek Gab to try out the incredible power of Notion AI today. And when you use our link, you support the show. We like that. That's good for you too. This is a limited time offer though. Try Notion AI for free right now at notion.com/Mac Geek Gab. And our thanks to Notion for sponsoring today's episode. So we got more quick tips to do here. And this morning, just this morning, I saw a tweet from Ricky Mondello, who is someone that most of you know, if you know him at all, them at all. My apologies, Ricky. As the one of the more public-facing Safari security password engineers at Apple. We know Ricky because Ricky was a Mac Geek Gab listener before they ever started at Apple. So there's been a long history of this, and it's great. Ricky posted this morning that you can now, and I should share that Ricky's the one whose team created the whole thing where you get your two-factor authentication code automatically put right like there when you need to, like comes in via SMS, and you can just like click it and put it in on your phone or your Mac. Like that feature is killer, by the way. We all love that. Thank you, Ricky and team. Ricky posted this morning that as of today, you can now, so as of last week, for those of you who are listening to the recorded version of the show, you can now set up a passkey for your Google account, which means we are one step closer to passwords going away, which is very cool. And right now, it doesn't invalidate your password, so it's 100% safe to set up. I'll put a link to Ricky's tweet about this in the show notes at macgeekgab.com or mgg.fm/980. But just wanted to make sure to share that. So fun stuff, don't you think?
Nice.
I'm stoked about where passkeys will bring us. I mean, it'll take a while to get there, but Google adding it, like, that's a big deal. That's a lot of people.
Quick Passkey 101 review.
Yep. Passkeys are what happens with a passkey is you go to a website like Google and you tell it, okay, I want to set up a passkey instead of a password. Although now at this point in time, it's in parallel to having a password. So one's not going to replace the other. And that's as a transition thing, right? Eventually we just won't have passwords and we will log in with our passkeys. What happens is you say, yep, I am me. You prove that you're you. In this case, you'd prove you're you by authenticating with your password and your 2FA code to Google, right? So, okay, great. You're now logged in. Google trusts that you are you. You say, I want to set up a passkey. Your computer and Google now negotiate a key pair where the private key is held by you and the public key is held by Google. John, correct me if I am wrong on this because I'm doing this on the fly. But that way, Google knows that anyone with your private key can log in as you. But right now, only you have your private key. And if someone watches you log in, they still don't have your private key. They don't have your password. Your private key is stored on your device. It's also stored in your iCloud keychain, meaning it's on all of your devices. Now, one could argue there's security limitations there, and there's security holes there. If somebody gets access to your iCloud keychain, well, then of course they have access to your passkeys, but they also have access to your passwords, but no one can guess your passkey. They would need to actually get access to your keychain to get it. There's no, I'm going to hack for X number of years and, maybe guess it. Maybe there is, but it's far, far, far less likely to hack a passkey than it is
it sounds like it goes back to once someone has physical access to your device, you're host anyway.
You're right.
But up until then.
Not necessarily. So I'll share my story here.
Wait, slow down for a second.
Okay.
I want to hear your story. I just want to make sure. Did I get the description of passkey correct, John?
I believe so.
Okay, great.
Yes. So behind the scenes, it's doing the whole key management thing, but you're not really involved in it, nor should you be. Some may argue.
Right. But there's the in terms of the relative safety between a password and a passkey, the password could be stolen over your shoulder, brute force hacked, whereas a passkey, somebody would need to get into your device to steal it. So, right? Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Please now share your story.
No, so I tried this. So certain websites will offer you the option of using a passkey. For example,
like
Best
Google
Buy
now.
is one of them. Yes, Google is one of them now too, and that's great. So for example, Best Buy, if you try to log in, it'll be like, oh, well, do you want to use a email address and password? Or then it says sign in with passkey. And here's the fun part. When you click on that, you then get a window saying, do you want to sign in to Best Buy with your blah, blah, blah. And you can say, well, no, give me other sign-in options. And it'll give you options to use your email address, iPhone, iPad, or Android device, or security key, which is even better.
Well, it's different. Better is a relative term.
A security key requires you to have a physical token, which I do have 2 of them. So that's
I don't know that that's better. It might be more secure.
It's more secure. Yes. It may not be better for ease of use because what if you lose your security key? Well,
right.
That kind of sucks. So you got to think about that, how far you want to go with your security. But passkeys are definitely a step in the right direction.
I think they're the middle ground between convenience and security that we need. I think they're great. They live at the sweet spot on that continuum.
How do you solve the problem then of I'm over at your house and I don't have my devices with me, but I need to get into my Best Buy account or my Google account to show you something.
You
It's not gonna
can't.
happen. Okay.
Well, if you don't
would
have
need
the key, then you're stuck.
Yeah, you would need some access to it. But what are the chances you would be at my house without your phone?
Well, let's say I have my phone, but I don't want to show you on my phone. I want to show you on your, 5K.
Yeah, you'd have to AirPlay to my
Display.
5K TV or something.
Okay. Yeah.
But yes, no, this is a valid, yes, it does. Again, it is the continuum between security and convenience, right?
You're at a hotel business center and you want to log into ExoJet Airlines to get your ticket printed out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do we still print our tickets? Do you have to internationally somewhere? Or can
no,
you always?
actually, no. It's all QR code now for the most part.
Yeah.
All
right.
And
but
even
these are good questions to ask because I realize we're sort of,
went down our rabbit hole, but
it's like it is slightly less convenient than a password because it is not something you can remember.
Sure.
It is something you have to have. Yeah.
And I know that. Can you, maybe neither of you can answer this, but what about, Steve Gibson did the squirrel, which was you go to this website and it presents a QR code. You just scan it with your phone and you're in. And I don't understand fully how it works. Maybe either of you.
Say that again.
It's called Squirrel.
And
it's basically for secure QR login. And you go to Southwest Airlines. And you want to log in and it presents you with a QR code. All you do is point your iPhone camera at it and it logs you in. Secure, quick, reliable login.
Yeah. I don't know that I've ever heard about this. If I have, then this is, I've forgotten it.
It
makes sense.
Kind of brilliant,
Yeah.
but it seems like a way around the passkey issue. And I'm surprised it hasn't gained more adaptation more faster. And I'm seeing I don't see.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And let's see, who is that? Somebody in Alex S. No, Mark Visser in Discord is talking about it, the beginning of it, and what Google says about passkeys and that sort of thing. And its session is based on Squirrel, he thinks, and that's the one Steve Gibson worked on for a long time.
Interesting. Okay.
So, something, you know what? That's something for us all, I guess, to look at and talk more about in a future show.
I like it. Yeah. This is, John, did you know about Squirrel?
No.
Interesting.
I have squirrels, but.
Well, yes.
Notice he made that plural.
Yeah, secure, quick, reliable login. Interesting. Yeah. Huh. That seems like a different way to do things. I don't know.
Geez, it's been 10 years ago now. He first talked about it. He said he was standing in the shower and it hit him like a brick. Like, oh, here's a great way to avoid this password issue.
I wonder if it'll ever catch on. Like, I don't think it will because passkeys, like if it was going to catch on, it would have had to do that before we started using passkeys.
Yeah.
I'm just like, if you've got Apple and Google supporting passkeys, it like the ship now is sailing,
Yeah.
Like, it's just how it is.
It's at least untied from the pier.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. Big time. Yeah. And I don't think it's drifting. I think it's sailing. Like there's people pushing at this. Yeah.
I mean, the nice thing is that both passkeys and security keys are both backed up by standards. So you probably don't have to worry about whether it's going to be supported, but whether
fair.
The people you deal with decide to support it, and not all of them do. Like, for example, I couldn't figure out how to use a passkey on, get this, the Apple site.
Right.
I didn't get a prompt for using a passkey. It's like, dude, it's your technology. Well, not your technology, but it's a technology that you should probably
that you widely support. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah.
Okay. Ben, that's it for today's show.
Ben in our Discord chat this week noted that you can in messages use option up, and this is messages on the Mac, option up and option down, and like it used to do in a word you probably haven't heard in a long time, Adium, the old like multi-chat app, what it would do in Adium and what it also does in messages, and it does this in Monterey as well as Ventura and probably far back as the beginning of messages, option up and option down will bring up the text that you have typed for previous messages. It is not an edit mode, right? Like Ventura supports editing, in a limited sense on text messages or on iMessages, but this will just let you scroll through all the messages you've had. So where I used to use this in Adium was if I had sent something to someone and I wanted to copy it and then paste it somewhere else or use it, it was way easier to do that on the keyboard and just like scroll up, option up, up, up. Okay, that's the third message, like the third newest message. I don't have to type it. I don't have to drag with my mouse. I just do, option up, 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 and then Command A, Command C, and now it's on my clipboard and I can go do what I want with it. So it was interesting. As soon as I read this, I went and tried it. And, you have that moment where you realize your fingers remember something that they haven't done in a very long time. That was one of those things. It was like, oh man, I used to do this all the time.
You know where I use that? But no option needed. It's just the up and down arrow is in terminal.
Yes.
Previous commands that you've typed in terminal are all there.
With the up arrow.
Okay,
so that
depending on the shell you're using, right?
Okay.
Correct.
Well, I think most
John.
shells support that, right?
And I think the default ZSH shell supports that. So yeah, it's command what do we call it? Command history, I guess, is it. There's also tab completion for file names and commands, which I believe is also supported in the default shell on Mac OS now. But that's super handy where you're in the terminal and you type something and you start typing the name of a folder and hit tab and it will finish the thought for you. Very handy.
Finder will do that for you too when you're trying to go to a folder.
What?
Finder will do that.
I heard the words you said. I did not know this though.
Yeah, if you go to the Go menu in Finder and you want to go to a specific path.
So go to folder.
Like library / You just start testing LI and hit tab.
What? Dude, I feel like I've already learned my 5 things. I got to go.
Student becomes the teacher.
Oh, yeah. That's great. What?
Now, what if you want to know what shell you're running? You may ask yourself. And
what do you want? Pull over, John.
That's the ambulance. Yep. No, I know the sirens, dude. I've lived here for a long time. That's the ambulance.
For those of you listening in the car, this is only a test.
It's not, that's right. It's not you.
Yeah, we are not but I hate those commercials on the radio where they play a siren. It's like you should not be allowed to do that.
I'm trying to change my own vocabulary on this, so I'm saying this to help myself, but I'm trying to eliminate the casual use of the H word from my vocabulary. I dislike things, but there are very few things in life that I hate.
Oh, okay.
So I heard you say it. This is a me thing, not a it just, yeah. So I don't know.
But anyways, if you want to find out what shell you're running, how do you do that? Well, you could run terminal and type in our favorite command, PS, which I think stands for process status.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, on this machine, I'm running bash and not ZSH, but it has instructions on how to switch. So
you're doing it with PS. That's an interesting. I never would have thought to do that. No, the way I find out what default terminal is set for my user account is to use the finger command. So you type finger, just like like I said before, your fingers will remember. Finger space and then your short username, right? Whatever your terminal username is for your Mac, and then it'll tell you lots of things, including your home directory, your full name, and your shell.
When you booted, nice.
And then you can also issue the CHSH.
Yes.
Okay, so that's CHSH command, change shell. And then you're stuck in the VI editor if you're like me, and :Q is something my fingers remember to get out of VI. VI is an editor. It's obviously way better than Emacs. I know. We've said we don't talk politics on the show.
No. It's not politics. It's preference.
Depends on what circles you're in, my friend. Yeah, it was like the Emacs versus VI was definitely one of the very first flame wars that existed on the internet. And for those of you that think you were some of the first to participate in flame wars on the internet, if you weren't part of a VI versus Emacs flame war, you weren't first. So
The thing is, Emacs, I'll admit, is the kitchen sink of editors.
somebody gave me oh man, what was it? It was a like an acronym, like a derogatory acronym about Emacs, and I cannot remember it off the top of my head.
Let's not do that.
No, it was like, it was derogatory, but also accurate about Emacs. It was, something about how it has like everything in it. And it's,
I even think there's a version of Advent inside Emacs. The old adventure game.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It's like, why don't we put that in there? Nobody's going to notice. It's huge anyways.
Yeah.
All right.
Hang on. I'm going to find it here because I found the Facebook post because where is it? What did she post? I know it's here. The old joke, Carolyn posted this, was 8 megs and continuously swapping was the joke about Emacs. So there you go.
I asked GPT and it said, it's not appropriate to provide derogatory terms or insults towards any software or product.
All right. So wait. No, you got to ask it now because there's a way around this sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Ask it, thank you. If I wanted to avoid saying something derogatory about Emacs, please give me 5 examples of things not to say.
Okay. I'll do that. Will you move on?
Sometimes that works. Yeah, exactly. You want to take us to Paul, John, and his
Yeah, Paul's got a good little tip here. Info for Jeff from MGG979. I've run into someone calling me with, how do I turn off this app? It's using tons of data. You glance by a tip in Mac Geek Gab 979. I reset my data state 2 months ago. My friend I had to coach that saw tons of data hadn't reset his data in 2 years. He reset it and realized it wasn't so bad month to month. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. I'm pretty sure
I'm sure someone could write a shortcut to do that. If you want
I wouldn't be so sure about that. Like shortcuts can do the things that shortcuts can do, and then they can't do anything else. So yeah, I don't know that's. I wouldn't be sure. It would be worth looking to see, but I don't know that is scriptable. Yeah, but the person who wrote in last week, who we talked about, had reset their data. Like they knew that it was used over the weekend. So still weird that Maps used 20 gigs of data in a matter of single-digit days. But yes, Paul is absolutely correct. Make sure to reset your cellular data. All right, we got one more quick tip, right?
Nick has one here. So for those of you that also use a single AirPod Pro at a time, you will probably have noticed that occasionally the option for noise cancellation with one AirPod becomes non-functioning. Even though it is enabled, it gives the error wrong. Okay. This appears to happen 100% of the time when your phone powers off, either intentionally, such as an upgrade, or by going through TSA checks. All right. Or unintentionally, such as your battery reaching 0%. This can be fixed by doing the following. Put both AirPod Pros in your ears, toggle noise cancellation on-off depending on how it is when you put them in, and then toggle noise cancellation on-off to revert the change just done.
Huh.
This should restore the unique single AirPod noise cancellation functionality. Sometimes it requires manually enabling the option again, but the last update appears to not be required. All right.
Huh.
I've got something to add to that, actually.
Yeah, man.
Please.
So if you go into your control center on your phone or iPad, I assume, whichever device you're connecting your AirPods to, but if the phone is the most common, go to the control center and put the hearing widget in your control center, and you open that up. It is uber configurable. You can adjust the volume of your pass-through on the transparency mode. You can.
Really?
It is, yes. The second generation AirPods Pro are super configurable. You can, and I've used them almost as a hearing aid. I've
Yeah.
noticed that when I have one ear in, yeah, you can get it into the noise canceling mode, that sort of thing. But I've also noticed that I like that when I put it on transparency, I really want it to be transparent.
You want lots of external. You want the mix to be greater for external sound.
For the external.
Yeah.
The downside to that is there's no directional capability with the AirPods.
Oh, yeah, you do lose that, of course.
I find I lose the directional capability completely.
That's really interesting. Gosh, this is yet another one of those things, man, where like accessibility provides us with features that are good
that are not there or not readily evident, I should say.
All right. Hey, look, our sponsor Kolide has some big news. If you're an Okta user, they can get your entire fleet to 100% compliance. How? Well, if a device isn't compliant, the user can't log into your cloud apps until they've fixed the problem. That's simple. Kolide patches one of the major holes in zero trust architecture, device compliance. Without Kolide, IT struggles to solve basic problems like keeping everyone's OS and browser up to date. Unsecure devices are logging into your company's apps because there's nothing there to stop them. Kolide is the only device trust solution that enforces compliance as part of authentication, and it's built to work seamlessly with Okta. The moment Kolide's agent detects a problem, it alerts the user and gives them instructions to fix it. If they don't fix the problem within a set time, they're blocked. Kolide's method means fewer support tickets, less frustration, and, most importantly, 100% fleet compliance. Visit kolide.com/MGG to learn more or book a demo. That's KOLIDE.com/MGG. And our thanks to Kolide for sponsoring this episode. Wouldn't you love to bounce out of bed feeling fantastic even on a Monday morning? I've got a show for you, the 5 a.m. Miracle podcast, hosted by productivity junkie, trail marathoner, and banana enthusiast, Jeff Sanders. 5 a.m. Miracle is here to help you dominate your day before breakfast, create powerful lifelong habits, and tackle your grandest goals with extraordinary energy. Every Monday morning, Jeff will guide you through a fascinating and helpful personal growth topic, including action steps to give you something practical to achieve in each and every episode. Just like Mac Geek Gab, right? There's a new episode every Monday morning. Recent topics have included systematizing healthy habits, 10 strategies to identify your calling, and how to leverage fear to your advantage. Go to 5ammiracle.com or subscribe to the 5 a.m. Miracle on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. That's 5 with the number 5ammiracle.com. And our thanks to Jeff for doing this swap with us. All right, let's do some questions. Listener Kurt asked, PDX Kurt in our Discord channel says, I'm wondering if anyone has some suggestions for a problem that I'm having with photos. I have put a lot of work in to connect faces detected with people. And when I did this initially back under Mojave, it was possible to go to the people page of photos, click on a person, and see photos with that person in it. Now that it's been on Monterey for a while, it sure seems like Photos is always working on scanning to identify people, but it never moves the needle. Every time I go to the people page, it says the same thing. 3,585 photos scanned, 25,000 photos remaining. I quit Photos as the status page suggests so that it will do its thing, but the status message never changes. Activity Monitor reports significant CPU activity for Photo Library D and Cloud Photo D. But he said, I'm not using iCloud Photos, but I am using PhotoStream. Any ideas to reset this process? So yeah, like if resetting the process is likely to be the best answer, it is likely to fix this, right? Unless you've got some damage to your photos, but it is likely to fix this. I don't know if there's other answers to this, but to reset the Photos database, go into Photos, or to the Faces database, I should say. Go into Photos, Settings, General, and then click the Reset Suggested People button. And I had no idea that this even existed. Apple has a knowledge base article with the details. And then if that doesn't work, there's a solution which is distilled from an article at podfeet.com from Allison Sheridan to open the People album, select all, press delete. This should offer to reset all the names and faces data. It should not, delete the actual photos from your library. I recommend having a backup of your photos library, but this process is built to do exactly what you want. So you go into the People album, select all, press delete. In theory, that will offer to reset all of your names and faces data. So hopefully one of those two solutions actually kicks photos in the butt for you and gets it rolling yet again. So that's what I got. Have you guys
verified us with that database?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I recently, I guess when I had for like the weekish when I had that Frankenstein Monterey install on here, I was like hacking and slashing at cache files and database files trying to make Monterey happy with all of the stuff that I had forced it to inherit from, Ventura that it didn't know about, right? Because, Monterey became before Ventura.
I'm not here yet.
Yeah, I'm not here. Yeah, I've never seen the future before. Yeah. And so I think I with like some of the photos database. I don't know. The photos databases, maybe not, but I have some recent memory of messing with the photos databases to try and get things moving. Photos, I just told it to rebuild my library from iCloud, and that worked brilliantly. Mail was the thing that made me have to nuke and pave this machine. That was really the trick. But yeah, that was no bueno. Mail was never going to be happy. And so I was like, hey, speaking of mail, we've had a conversation. I don't have this on the agenda, but we had that conversation about archiving mail. I have not yet heard enough definitively from the various mail archiving, the authors of the mail archiving software packages to find out like how much risk there is at, say, storing your mail archive in a piece of third-party software if that software stops getting developed. Because I think with each one, it's going to be different. If they're storing it in a standard format, then your risk is much lower, right? Because you could read it with something else. However, there was another solution that that was presented in our Discord chat that gave me one of those gasp moments because it seems so brilliant. If you are running a Synology disk station, included with your disk station is the ability to run the Synology Mail or Mail Plus server package, which is, in and of itself, an IMAP mail server. I actually run one here. I know. I vowed never to run another mail server. And part of that is why I set up this Synology one, because I wanted to see how terrible it was. I do have it tied to a domain. It is a live mail server in the world. No one knows what the domain is. I don't use it for anything other than, get this, a couple of mailing lists just to make sure it actually works. And I get mail to it every day. It's like, it's been running for over a year. It's brilliant. However, what someone pointed out is, well, hey, if your issue is you don't have enough storage space on, say, Gmail or Fastmail or iCloud Mail to archive all of your email, and so now you're talking about where can I put it? And when we talk about, do you archive it on my Mac and then it's only on one of your Macs, or do you put it in the Eagle Filer or Mail Steward or whatever? Somebody said, well, why not just archive it on your own IMAP server on your Synology disk station?
Yeah.
And I started doing this, and it's like, obviously,
plenty of room there.
It just works. Like, of course it works. Why wouldn't it work? Like, I archived 1 year's worth of mail over there just to see. And it was like, like there's nothing to see unless except your mail. It's right where you put it. Like there was the aha moment was when the idea was presented. The implementation of it was so ridiculously simple and had been staring me in the face, and it never dawned on me.
So what are the downsides to doing this? You vowed you'd never do it. You're doing it.
Running a mail server.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You never do it. Now you're doing it.
Correct.
Is it that bad? Is it getting hammered? Like
one
would expect port 25 to be?
It's not so much. Well, yeah, but like yes, it does get hammered. The firewall is constantly, telling people stop, leave it alone. Yes, and it is. You're right. Port 25 is certainly one of those because it has to be if it's going to be a publicly accessible mail server. But it doesn't have to be. Like it doesn't. You don't have to set up your mail server on your Synology to actually be a real working, publicly accessible, able to receive mail server. You could set it up effectively in what I'll call dummy mode, right? Where you tell it these things, but you're never using it to send or receive mail. You're just using it to log into your IMAP account on that server to store your messages. And with the right port forwarding on your router, you can log into that IMAP account from anywhere. So you don't need to go as far as I did in terms of actually setting up a real live mail server. But
I kind of want to, but because
I know you do.
Yeah.
But I
also
the
know that
day
if I ever move, and I probably will retire in the next 4 or 5 years and move, and that'll be a major backside pain. So,
well, it depends on where you move to.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, but you're right. Now it's yours. But if you just set it up for personal access, like that, much less risk. Although I guess the same concern needs to be investigated. Whereas with, say, Mail Steward or Eagle Filer, we want to find out what format does it store this data in, and can I get at it even if the vendor goes out of business, right? Like, so if for some reason I can't run the Synology Mail Plus server, can I go dig in? Is it just storing it in mbox files? Like, is the data there in a way that I could slurp it out and import it into Mail or Thunderbird or some mail client and have it again? So I don't know. It's an interesting thing. So that's the part I need to look at is the same question, like what happens to this data?
Is it as ubiquitous as CSV? And
yeah.
I think PDF is probably around forever now, even though that was Adobe's original.
Yes. Yeah. But like for mail, you want either the mbox format or EMLX. It would be the standards. And they're kind of the same thing, I believe, but that, one of those two would be fine.
Yeah. No, I was just ruminating on other protocols.
Yes.
That, some have disappeared. I wrote a bunch of stuff back in the 90s that is no longer accessible.
Right.
Whereas Markdown or text would have been.
Yeah.
Although Markdown didn't exist then. So.
Markdown did. I was going to say, Gruber hadn't invented that yet. Yeah. All right. You want to take us to the next question, John?
Sure. See if I can condense this a bit. So, Scott's question is DAS or NAS for Apple Music storage. DAS, of course, being a direct attached storage and NAS being network attached storage. So he says right now he has an OWC Mercury Elite Pro Quad as a DAS drive connected to a 2015 iMac to storage my large music library or iTunes library if you're old school. The particular enclosure has hardware RAID and is loaded with four 3 terabyte Western Digital hard drives. It's about 10 years old. Wow, that's impressive.
That's scary.
And I've only lost one hard drive, which is even scarier. But I'm getting worried about how much longer it will last. Okay, good concern for a 10-year-old piece of hard drive hardware. I want to upgrade as soon as possible. I've narrowed it down to 2 possibilities. The first would be an OWC Thunder Bay 8. My concern is this unit does not have hardware RAID and it uses soft RAID. Okay.
No concern, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, the enclosure should be able, or the computer should be able to run that without breaking a sweat.
Soft RAID, enough of soft RAID is built into Mac OS that you don't need to install the drivers to read from the drive, as far as I understand it. I don't run any soft RAID things, but that's the story everybody at Apple and OWC tells me. So, yeah.
And then he says, my second concern is that this unit has a Thunderbolt 3 port and my iMac has a Thunderbolt 2 port, so I would have to use an adapter. Yeah, all right. Still going to be plenty fast, I think.
Yep.
Especially for music. The second option would be to use a Synology disk station. My main concern is putting the iTunes library folder on the NAS and having a seamless experience while using an Apple TV or an iDevice. I've read many articles stating iTunes gets flaky when the library is stored on a network drive. And yes, I have found that as well. So I would not recommend using a Synology to store your Apple Music.
Any network drive, you want to store it locally, either internal or external, but local, not network. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I found the same reports saying don't use a network drive for music library. However, so the Thunder Bay is a solid choice. So if you're comfortable with that, go with that. The thing is the Synology is just so much fun. And then it has all the packages. So I'm like, if you can do that. Now the thing, so here's the thing. If you want to store your music on your Synology, they have a thing called Audio Station. And I'm using that personally myself. So I've copied my iTunes library from my computer to the Synology using Audio Station, and then I can stream my music to my various devices, probably using a third-party client. But that works for me, so I'm wondering about your thoughts, guys.
Yeah, I shared some of them as you know, as we were kind of going through it there. Definitely direct attached. The Synology is fun, but you do not want to have your Mac connected to its music library on a folder there. Like right, like for sure. Because it will get flaky. It's just how things are. So yeah, like direct attach for the music library, but your point about the Synology being great for being able to serve that library in a variety of ways. I have mine ingested into Plex so that, you know, not only can I see it, but people that I share my library with can see it. And Audio Stations, I used to use Audio Station for playing it. Now I just use Plex Amp because it does a better job on like CarPlay and all that stuff. But what I do is I have my Apple Music app saves the music data to an external drive. This is just a single drive SSD. It's not a RAID or anything like that. Partially because it's not fault tolerant, I then once a day have Carbon Copy Cloner sync the contents of that music library folder to my Synology so that Plex and Audio Station and all the other things can see what is effectively my updated data. I mean, it's not instantly up to date. I suppose I could use something like ChronoSync or, you know, whatever to sync it in real time, but it's not important to me. It's, you know, once a day is more than enough. And Carbon Copy Cloner does a fine job of that. And so I have a backup of my music library, a copy of my music library, which also serves as a backup on my Synology. But the live one is just connected direct attached. Yeah. The nice part about iCloud Music Library is you only need to do that on one of your computers, right? If you're using iCloud Music Library, you can sync it everywhere, but and only download. You can do the whole optimized storage thing where you're not downloading everything. On the Mac where you have the direct attached library, though, you don't want to optimize storage. You want it to pull everything down. So, and even then, some stuff doesn't come down automatically. I built a couple of playlists, like smart playlists in Apple Music, and one of them is named iCloud Music that's not yet downloaded. And I forget to do this. And in fact, I haven't thought about this for a while. So like, I definitely need to do this again. I probably need to put it on my calendar or somewhere. But I go into that folder and anything that's in there, I highlight and I right click and I say download. And then it disappears from that folder because it's no longer meeting the smart criteria of it's in my iCloud Music library, but not yet downloaded. And so effectively emptying that folder by downloading things to my Mac ensures that I don't wind up with this weird scenario where I think I have everything on my Mac and I don't. So I share that. That's a little tip. That's a bonus tip. something like that. I don't know. What do we got? I'm trying to think. What else do we have here? We've got some good, cool stuff found. So should we jump to that? Is there one last? Yeah, all right, we'll do it. I didn't realize I was doing this, but I have a second tip from the aforementioned Ricky Mandello and a link to the Twitter chain in which that happened. If you want if you use the Apple Password Manager, there is no like icon for it in your dock or on your phone's like home screen or anything. You have to like dig into settings and like go there, and that's kind of a pain in the neck. And but if you use a third-party password manager like 1Password or some others that aren't LastPass, because we really can't recommend that you use LastPass these days, you get to launch it like an app. Well, there's a shortcut and an icon that you can put together and make yourself a little click. Tap on your home screen, tap on your dock, and launch the Apple Password Manager. So we have a link to that in the show notes so that you can go and learn how to do that too. And it was posted by Ricky. So yeah, good stuff. Kind of, sort of from Apple, but let's be frank, not really. So, what else do we got here? Oh yeah, listener Martin shares. We've been talking about unlocking our Macs with our Apple Watches, and some Macs, like John, you were saying last week that yours doesn't always work. Some people have Macs where that's just not possible. Well, Martin says, I have been using a tool that lives in the menu bar called BLEUnlock, BLEUNLOCK, that allows various Bluetooth devices to do what the Apple Watch does. And it's available on GitHub, and it will allow you to unlock your Mac with all kinds of things, including your iPhone. So I actually might. I think I used this years ago or something like it. And then I got an Apple Watch and it was like, but fine. But nowadays that I'm wearing my Apple Watch less and less frequently, I might want this on the Mac in the office because I always have my phone with me. Huh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? Like, and it's right there. BLEUnlock, let's see.
I turned mine on last week and I found that I'm finally, after about a week, I'm finally not reaching for my fingertip ID button to unlock my Mac.
Yeah.
So it jogs my fingers. Like, oh yeah, okay, my watch is doing it for me.
Yeah. It is handy. That is one of the things that makes me realize like that I miss wearing my Apple Watch on the days I'm not wearing it. I do wear it some days, but not every day. So yeah, that's a pretty good one. Yeah. Thanks for that, Martin.
I got to say, the one annoyance with Apple Watch unlocking is, so when I'm done with the podcast, I'll put my machine to sleep. Very often, it'll wake up my machine before I'm out of range.
Oh, so you like intentional? You don't just let it sleep on a timer schedule on like an idle timer. You choose.
I could do that, but
option.
I prefer if I can manually do it. But yeah, it's like, oh, there's the watch. Let me unlock. So I actually have to put the watch in another room and then put the machine to sleep.
So that happened to me last night when I was finished with everything I was doing. I put the Mac to sleep, and within a couple seconds, it woke back up. Now, I can only think that I grazed the trackpad or one of the keys on the keyboard or something like that to make it happen, because I then put it to sleep again and it stayed.
Yeah.
And I closed the lid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
What happened? Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. But it tapped me on the wrist, and I think it did.
It tells
anyway,
you.
There's no, but that whole false, phone vibration in the pocket is a real thing. The false tap on the wrist.
It is. It is. Your fingers will remember, Pete.
Yeah.
John, you got a cool stuff found for us this week, my friend?
Yeah, I was poking around, so this ChatGPT stuff. A lot of chatter has been, how do I know that my student or my employee or whatever used ChatGPT to write their stuff and are taking credit for it? there's a thing called ZeroGPT at ZeroGPT.com.
Slow down.
Is it?
It's ZeroGPT.
Sorry.
The T comes last. P goes in the middle.
Oh, I said
That's all.
GTP. Sorry.
You did. Right.
GPT.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Basically, you paste in some text and it says, okay, here's a chance that it's written by a human. Here's a chance that it's written by an AI. Here's a chance that it's a mix. So,
I
if
guess
you want to keep an eye on your underlings, this may be fun to play with. I don't know how accurate it is. I haven't really used it that much.
Yeah, there's a whole conversation to be had about how the education system needs to adapt to using this. But like, I praise my employees every time they come to me with something that they're like, oh yeah, I use ChatGPT to like create this, the core of this, and then edit it from there. It's like, great, you saved us a bunch of time, like super efficient,
more productive,
way more productive,
far more productive.
Yeah,
and
so I can see why some perhaps misguided teachers might want a tool like this in the short term, right? Like until they figure out how to adapt their classroom and their learning environment to embrace the fact that ChatGPT exists, as opposed to because it's not the tool that's going to give you answers. It's the tool that's going to like do the grunt work for you. It's a fantastic assistant, right? But in the workplace, I can't even imagine why I'd care. Maybe I'm the wrong guy to ask.
Yeah, I don't think you would in the workplace. I can see in an academic environment where you want people to at least understand how to communicate sentence structure, object, verb, subject.
Yeah. Yes.
Subject, verb, object. Sorry.
Yeah.
Not speaking Russian here. Not speaking like Yoda.
Right. Yeah. Right. I guess. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that's interesting. Have you tried it? Did you feed it like things that you wrote versus things that ChatGPT wrote?
No.
Oh, well, why not, man? Like I want to know how it. Yeah, I'm going to feed it the most recent. I'm going to go to MacGeekGab.com because I've been using ChatGPT every week. I feed it just the agenda of the show, like the chapters of the show, really is what I feed it. And I have it write a blog post for me. And the reason that I do that is because I know that for search engine optimization, having a well fleshed out blog post is a really good thing. But I also know that I need to get the show published. And if I wait, I beware the onces, like once I have this blog post written, I'll publish the show. The show would never get published. Like it would be inconsistent at best because I know how I am. But when I can have ChatGPT write it for me and then I take it and tweak it, because sometimes it doesn't know if I have like in the show notes, if it says like Donna, tells us about, or Donna dash, what was the first tip that we talked about? Donna-Apple Maps favorites, right? It might interpret that as Donna asked about how to use Apple Maps favorites. And we all know that, no, Donna shared a tip about. So I will make those edits, but it's way more efficient for me to edit. And so I use ChatGPT to create the bones of that and then create the thing.
Yeah.
So I took the 5 paragraphs that I put in for last week's show. And it was written by ChatGPT. I made edits similar to the one that I just told you, but by and large, I would say 98% of the text here is written by ChatGPT, and ZeroGPT says your text is human written. There is 0% AI GPT in this.
Yep. Oh, well, so much for that.
Wait. I do have the sad trombone sound effects somewhere. Yeah. It's like, there it is. Yep. No bueno. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I should try it with like the raw text from ChatGPT, but it should.
If you had another guess.
If you had another guess. That's right. That's right. This needs to be transformative as well. Like, if you might have been wrong about this, what would your answer be?
Yeah, I think language is just going to be one of those things that it's not going to be able to detect the difference between you and me.
And is it because I edited it? Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Because there are people who are very good writers who would then, it'll say, hey, no, the ChatGPT wrote this. How do you spell ChatGPT? I don't know what that is. I wrote
Right.
this.
Yeah. It says my text from the week before is also human written, 0% AI GPT.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
incorrect. Try again. All right. Pete, you got a cool stuff found for us before we
I do.
out here?
In fact, let me share my screen there. So I was paying money for my Ring doorbells in 3 different locations, my mother-in-law's place and all that, to store video. And the interesting thing was this most recent winter storm here, where we were way below zero for a long time, got me it basically killed my battery on my Ring doorbell here at the house. And so I went out and got the eufy doorbell and chime. In this case, it was at Best Buy. It was on sale, so I saved, I think, $35. I think I paid $149 or $145, one of those two. Anyway, the long and short of it is, here are a couple things. Super easy to mount, 2 screws. It offers a angle plate, because in my case, I needed to angle the doorbell away from, it couldn't just be mounted flush. Otherwise, it would be looking at the opposite beam of my garage door. So I angled it out a few degrees so it would look at my driveway and the walk up to the
So
house.
when you're saying you angled it, just so people understand, you're not talking about up or down. You're talking about left or right.
Left or right. Yeah,
Correct. Okay, got it. Just wanted to make sure.
Probably be a way to angle it up or down. I don't know what that is, but there is a 15-degree angle mount in there to allow you to point it a little bit away in one direction, and you just have to flip it over if you want to go left.
I had to do that because the field of vision, when it was mounted straight, was not appropriate for my location. But yeah, they have the 15-degree angle mount, and that really helped. So it's aiming down at the street rather than the road. Because the problem was, if it was aimed at the road, it would go off like every 5 seconds. And I'm like,
right,
I can't deal with
that. And that's another cool thing about this one is you can set the motion detection zone from about 3.5 to 4 feet up, so that Rover and Spot and Rex don't set it off every time they wander around in your yard. So it only detects humans walking up. That being said, a clever burglar can crawl underneath your detection zone.
Right.
But you know, you can set it so animals won't set it off. Here's the best part, in my humble opinion, about this thing is there's a storage card, SD card, mini SD card in your chime that stores the video. So you aren't having to pay them to continually store events, motion detection events, Ring doorbell events. No, that's proper. Doorbell being rung events. It's stored automatically locally on your chime device, and you can configure the chime device to make different sounds for you and using the app. And I just found it a great replacement for the Ring, because you can hardwire it in if you need to. I don't happen to have pre-wiring out there on the garage, so it's always been battery. But after 2 short years, my battery got utterly destroyed by some sub-zero days here in New England. That, you know, it was down near zero, and then it got the battery percentage was down near zero, and then it got super cold while I was on a trip, and it ruined the battery. So now, not to say that this won't face that same problem, but I was looking for something to replace it where I didn't have to continue to pay Ring. I forget what the amount is. It's $60 a year or something per camera to store the events. Yeah, no thanks. I'm done with that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. The identification matrix or whatever, but the matrix to define what's important for motion detection is much better, last I used it, than the Ring algorithm.
Right.
Yeah, we've had a eufy doorbell for a while. I had a Ring doorbell, and then we changed our front door, and the spot in the molding, the frame of the door got narrower on the new door, and the Ring doorbell wouldn't fit, but the eufy doorbell would. So nice. I moved to this basic. I'm pretty sure I have the same one that you're talking about here, and yeah, it's been great. It's interesting. I didn't experience issues when we had like super cold weather. So either my my
if your
doorbell.
battery wasn't that low when that happened, then perhaps,
Right.
I think mine was just too low. And that's the problem with lithium batteries, right? If they're near
Yes.
zero, if you let them get to zero,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
will
yeah,
frequently
yeah.
be done. Okay, I quit.
Yeah, I'm all set. Yeah, that's right. No, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
And one last thing about it, I think it's a 2K camera in there. So plenty
It
of
is.
resolution
Yep.
to see who, what, where, and why.
And
good night vision.
it works with HomeKit, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I was going to say, I know mine works with HomeKit, and I'm pretty sure it's native, but because I run Homebridge, I always have to stop and think.
Right.
Like,
I happen to use the app separately and all, but
Yeah.
boy, what a I just love it.
Yes. Yeah, no, I agree. That's been my favorite doorbell. It sounds like you too, John, that we kind of all used different
It's always
ones.
fun to get a notification, and it's the mail person
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we get
usually,
maybe
or the package person.
That's sexist. There he was going to say, that's sexist, John. Could have been a female person.
well played, Pete.
Oh,
Mail,
M-A-I-L.
MAILP.
But it could have been a FedEx person. We don't discriminate at our
There you
house.
go. Right.
We let the mail and the UPS and the FedEx all show up. So
FedEx and UPS are my dog's favorite flavors.
yeah, I have a big box from that FedEx. First time in 18 years, we're doing the pre-show, and a FedEx delivery person opens the door to my studio, which is upstairs. Like, you have to come into the garage, go all the way to the back, come up the stairs, opens the door, and I see the door open. I'm like, what the heck's going on? And I see his head sort of poke in. He's like, I have something for you, but you need to sign. I heard your voice through the floor. I just figured I'd come up. I'm like, yeah, man. Like works out. Like, we're just in pre-show. It's all good.
And now you've got some cool stuff found for next week.
I do. I have some stuff from the company whose name is a palindrome, I believe.
Oh, yes, it is.
Right? And also, it works the same, not just if you flip it from left to right, but upside down.
Oh, yeah. Okay, if a capital in the
If all the letters are capitals, it's 5 letters. The first one, I'll give you the first 3. You can figure out the rest. SON. So, yeah, there you go.
Wow.
Yep. Fun stuff. It's not secret. These are released products. It's the new Sonos era line of things. So yeah, I'm excited to finally be able to check them out.
I need you to talk to them. What's the name? Not the Move, the other one, the smaller.
Oh, the little Roam.
Roam. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only reason I haven't bought it, it doesn't have a microphone in it, because I like to be able to have a telephone conversation with dispatch where my first officer can listen in. So I'm not on a secret page with weather and fuel and that sort of thing.
Pete, I mean, I haven't used it for phone calls, but I think I could if I had it on Bluetooth.
Oh, interesting. I was told it did not have a microphone in it.
Oh, I use it with, we bring it out to the hot tub with us. The Sonos Roam is what we're talking about. Yeah. That's the little one. It's like a pill size speaker. It looks like a Toblerone, but
a little larger, but yeah.
Yeah. Right. Larger than a Toblerone, but that sort of shape. Triangular, if you will. Yeah. And we bring it to the hot tub with us every night when we go in the hot tub, because it's, I forget what the official word is, but I call it waterproof. If it falls in the tub, it's not going to be ruined. If it's raining like it was yesterday, it doesn't matter. All good. And we use it with the A-Lady, because I have the A-Lady paired with it. Yeah. And we use it with the Sonos voice, where you say, hey, S, but it's the other S. It's the palindromic S. And so it definitely has a microphone in it. There's no question about it.
Well, I knew that, but I would sure love it if you'd try and give me a call on it and see if it'll work as a speakerphone.
That's the thing, is when it's at my house, it's in Wi-Fi mode.
Yeah.
I don't shift it to Bluetooth unless I travel with it. Mm-hmm. So I would need to leave.
I'd go buy one today if I knew I could use it as a speakerphone.
The next time I leave my house, I'll bring it with and convert it to Bluetooth mode, because I can convert it to Bluetooth with Wi-Fi around, but I think it keeps shifting back. I don't know. I'll test it for you, Pete.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. And we will have more Sonos stuff to talk about in the next week or two.
Very soon.
Yeah. I call mine. Mine happens to be white in color, and so I call mine White Roam. because it's like the White Room, like the Cream song. I don't know why. This gives me this never-ending pleasure every time I see it. I think I'm so clever. As I'm saying it out loud, I've just ruined it for myself because it's really not that clever. But
Yeah.
I still like it.
That's still my basement is called Mini-Me. So.
I like it. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us, folks. Thanks for sending in all your questions and such to where? Feedback at macgeekgab.com.
Did he say feedback at macgeekgab.com?
No, John, he said feedback at macgeekgab.com. I'm certain of it.
Any one of those three will get email to us. I guarantee it. Thanks to CashFly for providing all the bandwidth to get the show from us to you. Check out our other podcasts. There's links in the show notes to Pilot Pete, So There I Was, My Business Brain, and My Gig Gab. Thanks for hanging out. Check out our merch page at macgeekgab.com/merch. We're going to be adding even more stuff there soon. Check out our sponsors at macgeekgab.com/sponsors. Of course, the ones we mentioned in the episode. Zocdoc.com/MGG. Notion.com/MacGeekGab. That one's a little different. Kolide.com/MGG. John, do you have anything to say? Like maybe
I'm just going to read what's on Pete's shirt.
Okay.
And what Pete's shirt says is don't get caught.
Made on a Mac.
I gotta find the guy who made that made on a Mac thing someday. Been there for a long time. Later.